A brand new idea played out now on BBC Two. Contestants face trial by fire as a major crisis forces them to make life or death decisions. Even in this imaginary scenario, when response time's critical, would you have what it takes to run the country?
Each day our papers and our news bulletins are full of stories about catastrophes that one day could hit Britain. If any of them were to occur, the results could be catastrophic. But if you were the person who had to manage the crisis, how would you cope? Here in the Crisis Command Centre, 3 people unknown to each other will be put in an extraordinary position of power.
This puts a new light on the political world. The world will never be the same.
They are the ministers, and they will face an ultra-realistic simulation of a crisis.
We've learnt our lesson twice now. Can we make decisions a bit quicker?
They must take the reins of government and lead the country.
I find this incredibly difficult. Learning from the experiences that we've been through today, I'm erring on the fact that we want to manage the risk.
You can make your own decisions at home and see if you can do better than the ministers here in the bunker. Over the next hour, you're going to find out whether you're a potential Prime Minister or whether in fact the country would be better off without your help. We have a national emergency, and it's about to begin. Ministers, you have been called to this Crisis Command Centre because we have a very serious situation on our hands. Just a short time ago, there was an explosion at Waterloo Station in London, and I'd like you to take a look at this.
Well, there's been a massive explosion at Waterloo Station in central London. It happened as hundreds of commuters were making their way through the station. Emergency services are at the scene, and we'll bring you more details as we get them.
I don't know what's happened, but somebody was telling me a few minutes ago there was a group of gas engineers working close by to the station. So we don't know if that's what's caused the explosion, but absolute chaos here.
And there are thought to be many casualties. The extent of the damage is unconfirmed. The cause of the explosion is also, as yet, unconfirmed.
What we're dealing here with is clearly a catastrophic situation. You're dealing with the highest number of casualties ever faced in peacetime Britain, perhaps over 1,000. I can also tell you that the emergency services commanders on the ground has an operational problem. I want to share that with you.
It's chaotic here. It seems there's been 2 explosions, one down in the tunnels, the other one up in the main station. I mean, there's damage and debris everywhere, and we're looking at probably 1,000 injuries. We've got a lot of people trapped under masonry and under a collapsed roof structure, and we really have got to get to those people quickly if they're to stand any chance of survival. I've just had a report from paramedics that are telling me that we've got upwards of 200 serious burns victims in need of immediate attention and transferal to specialist burns units.
You have around 200 serious burns victims, and you've got to try and find a way of getting them out. Now, the quickest way of doing that is by helicopter, but clearly there are only a limited number of helicopters. And the first decision is this. Do you use these helicopters just to bring in more paramedics? Or do you use the helicopters to move out as many burns victims from Waterloo to specialist hospitals as possible? Or thirdly, do you only move the burns victims who are certain to survive if they're treated? With each dilemma the ministers face, they must choose the correct option as decided by a team of professional crisis managers. Helping them are 3 genuine experts from the worlds of the military, communications and emergency services.
Who can tell us what the paramedics can do on the ground?
What the situation is, ministers, is that the emergency services on the ground are basically asking for you for a decision that is actually about life and death. People who are so badly burnt that they are unlikely to survive are going to take up so many resources that they are saying we should consider leaving them as they are, so that the facilities can be concentrated on those who are likely to survive.
What's the capacity per helicopter?
It depends on which ones we put in. For the air ambulance, it's only a couple of casualties. For the search and rescue, we can probably get that up to 4. Once we start getting the medium lift helicopters in, once we get a